Hi everybody, Matt Birney or Mike Beard taking a look at the Pick 4 from Parx on Saturday afternoon. Pennsylvania Derby Saturday, races 8 through 10. The first leg is race number 8, scheduled post time 3:41 Eastern. It's not a graded stake, so I suppose maybe it's a little bit less than the other 3, but it's still a stakes race. It's the Pennsylvania Derby Champion Stake, so I suppose this year it would be known as the Connect. Correct?
Yeah, yes, that's
In the
right.
past, it's been the Bayern and it's been all the other
That's right,
horses,
it would
the
be the
Frosted.
Connect, yes.
This year, I believe, would be the Connect. The mile and 16th on the main track. You've got some old, salty, war horses that go out there.
Yeah.
Where would you go in here?
This is a pretty tough race. I feel like there are a lot of ways to go. I feel like the benefit you have with this race being the first leg, and obviously it all depends on how you feel about the major Grade 1 races coming up after this, but I feel like those are races I can narrow in a little bit more, so that allows me to use, to take some coverage in a race like this. I'm going to use, obviously, Matt King Cole. I just think in a lot of ways he might be the horse to beat with his speed. I'm not sure how good I really think he is, but I think he's all right, and I like his pace in this race. I'm going to use him. Use Donegal Moon for Pletcher. I thought he ran well last time, although those are the kinds of races Pletcher was really doing well in up at Saratoga. Those two-turn route races, he just dominated them. But this horse ran well in that race, and I like that he has a prior win over this track too, a big win at that. And I'm going to use the 8 and the 9 as well. They can both close, and there's pace in this race.
So maybe I'm approaching it the wrong way, but the whole thing with Matt King Cole, I'm looking at it saying there's a real scenario where these two of the next 3 legs are quite chalky.
Yeah.
And I don't entirely trust Matt King Cole. I think he might be okay, but like you said, is he a superstar? No, he's not. And when they've tested him, it hasn't worked out. Maybe he's just better than these horses. I'm throwing him out. I want to try to beat him just in case it does chalk out later on.
I can't argue with that. I don't think he's the kind of horse you want to be using with Abel Tasman and West Coast. Exactly. That's for sure. Yeah. I don't think anybody needs that scenario. You and I went into those 2 Grade 1 races a little bit more in depth, and there are a couple of, if you want to take a shot against the favorites, I think you'd be remiss not to use Matt King Cole, but if you're using them, you probably don't need this horse.
I'm going to use Donegal Moon as you are. I'm going to throw in Ike Walker. I know just maybe because I like West Coast racing, but I think there is something to that. I know maybe he hasn't been keeping the best of company recently, but at the same time, he has a couple of races that are good enough to get the job done in here. Hollendorfer won this race last year with Cyrus Alexander, and look, if he can win a race with Cyrus, you can win a race with Ike Walker. We know that, and I'm with you on the outside 2 horses. I think Paige McKenney, he's the old, true blue war horse that goes out there and just gives you what he's got. And just call Kenny. If you believe that Iselin was him waking up again, he's got a giant chance in here.
Yeah, he runs his Iselin back. He'll probably just win this race.
Now, we talked about it. We've already got the extended stakes previews for the next 3 races. This one, race number 9, is the Gallant Bob. We've gone through all the nuts and bolts. Who would you use and how would you use him?
Well, I like American Pastime. I think we both agree that we like him in this race, and so he's one of the horses who's on all my tickets. I don't love Cole Front. My problem with this race really is, especially from a Pick 4 perspective, I don't love Cole Front in this race, but I recognize that he's probably the horse to beat in here, and I do like his entry mate, and I feel like since both halves of the entry can win, I can't get knocked out of this Pick 4 by them, so I got to use them, and I'm going to focus my ticket basically just on those 2 horses. With the favorites in the last 2 legs coming up, and maybe with Matt King Cole earlier on, I'm going to use sort of crazy horses in this race, like Action Every Day, who's going to be a really big price in here. He's just a horse who I think he's mildly interesting at a big price. I think he's better than he looks on paper.
I'm with you on the 2 horses. We're going to use the 5 American Pastime. He's where most of my weight would be if I was using Ticket Maker. I'm going to use the entry in here. I guess the big thing for me is I just don't want excitations. He's the one.
I agree.
If he wins, I'm going to get beat. I'm going to be out of this thing. But I think he's going to get overbet based on everything we talked about. He's got that big buyer staring you back in the face.
Yes.
Let's move on to the Cotillion. It's a Grade 1. It's one of the co-headliners here. 3-year-old fillies. We've got the Oaks winner in here, Abel Tasman. Yeah. She is strictly the horse to beat in here. Are you standing on her alone, or would you use anyone else?
I suspect that she's just better than these horses. She's the only A for me in this race. I'll put most of my Pick 4 play through her. I will take 2 backups in this race. One of them with the 8, Teresa Z. I really like her last 2 races. I think she might have turned the corner. I don't know if she can beat Abel Tasman, but I think if anybody can beat her, it might well be her. I'm also going to use the horse that you like, It Tis Well, just because I like her pace. I thought she ran fine in the Alabama. She'll have to do better than that in here, but maybe she can do it over the shorter distance.
You and I look at the race basically the same. I think Abel Tasman, she's the horse to beat. I'm going to use It Tis Well just because I think that she has that tactical advantage. And I'm with you. I think Teresa Z, it feels like these past 2 races, when the blinkers have gone off, she's just woken up and she's put it all together. So, and she's going to be, she should be a good price in here. Even if maybe not from the individual race, in the pick, she's going to be a nice price.
Yeah, the best thing about those 2 horses as your backups, I think, is just that they're not Lockdown or Salty. And those two horses probably will take some money, and they'll probably take some money even in the pick fours. And I don't like either one of those two horses. I don't want them as my backups. I want other horses.
100% agreement there. If we're alive, we get to the big one. It's the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby. The 3-year-olds are going a mile and an eighth in the main track. You have to use West Coast in here. I guess the question then becomes, do you use anyone else, and how do you weight it? Because, again, West Coast just looms large over this field.
Yeah, he just looks like he's going to be really, really hard to beat in here. I do like Timeline. I want to give Timeline a chance to pull off what would be, I guess, a mild upset in this race for Chad. If he can do it, I'm going to have him in the pick fours. Well, I'm going to use those two horses. Nobody else for me in this race.
I'm going to use West Coast. I'm using Timeline. I'm on the fence about using IRAP because I think he has a puncher's chance, but I kind of feel like how much do I want to spread in a race where I think the most likely winner is a pretty likely winner in West Coast?
Yeah, that's my problem too. I don't want to go too deep in here with a horse like West Coast looming over this field because he just might, at the end of the day, be too good for these horses.
It's a really good day of racing at Parx. You should go down and check it out if you're in the Bensalem area. If you're playing from home, you have plenty of ways to do so, but this late pick 4 sequence, it's really good stuff. All stakes, 3 of them are graded, 2 grade 1s in there. You've got the Cotillion and the Pennsylvania Derby. Again, the first race is race number 8, and scheduled post time is 3:41 for this sequence. Best of luck.